What is going on, everyone? You got Kyle from Sports Pulse here, bringing you guys a UFC fight breakdown. I know what you guys are thinking. 2 uploads in one day. Are they crazy over there? Yeah, maybe we are. But in reality, just super busy this week. Didn't have time to pump out the videos. Didn't even have a video for Thursday night. Luckily for me, in the Discord, we hit a couple props. We hit that George Kittle touchdown. Jordan Mason went out with an injury, so we took an L on that bet. And then we took an L on another touchdown bet, but we hit the Brock Purdy under an interception. I knew he wasn't going to throw an interception against that Seahawks defense after watching Jared Goff complete every single pass that he threw against them. So we did pretty well there. Then we had a good night with hockey. All in all, we're up on the night about 4.2 units. Some insane profit. We're hitting these hockey props like crazy. We had a super rough day yesterday, but I'm telling everyone, it's early season hockey. We're keeping the plays low. We're keeping them to 0.25 units, quarter unit bets, and we're still coming out 4 units ahead. It's absolutely unreal. We're killing it, man. And then last week, back on track with the UFC. We had 14 events in a row, profitable in every single week. UFC 306 kind of kicked us in the ass a little bit. Whole bunch of underdogs won. We weren't on the right side of a few of those. And then the week before last week, again we just had a little minor rough night, down about a unit. But last week we're back. Would have been up even more if Jose Aldo didn't get robbed, and then would have been up even more if Pennington didn't get robbed. But it is what it is. I'm a little bit more upset about the Pennington one because the Aldo fight, you could argue, went both ways. The Pena Pennington fight, I don't think there's a world where Pena won that fight, but it's whatever, man. Not gonna dwell on it too much. It would have cashed a parlay for us, but I'm not too worked up about that. Roman Dolidze came in huge. A lot of people were saying I got lucky. It was a fluke. I will admit that was a fluke to get it in the first round, but the way that fight was going, Roman Dolidze on top of him, Kevin Holland wasn't going anywhere. Roman Dolidze was going to sit there and fish for those arms, fish for the neck. He was going to finish that fight on top. Very confident in my Roman Dolidze inside the distance decision no action bet. But without further ado, let's get right into this video here, breaking down the fights for UFC Vegas 98. Little side note here, actually. The Vegas 100 main event just got announced. Neil Magny versus Carlos Prates. I think Neil Magny had to have fucked his manager's wife. I think there's no way this guy didn't fuck his manager's wife, giving him Carlos Prates after the Morales fight where he got slept in the first round. You want to fight Carlos fucking Prates? Yeah, that's going to be the biggest bet I've ever placed, is Carlos Prates by knockout. Unreal decision making over in the Magny camp, but it is what it is. That fight's not lasting more than a round. I don't know why it's a main event. Whatever, I'm done complaining about that. Going into the first fight of the night, we got Clayton Carpenter taking on Lucas Rocha. And this fight right here is a little interesting. I feel like I always get these early UFC fighters wrong. I get the picks wrong because I don't have the reads. I don't have their UFC fights. Working on my regional tape study a little bit. I think Rocha in his Contender Series fight might be an unpopular opinion. I think he kind of got a fluke knockout. He was getting absolutely dominated. He was getting cooked. And then he just gets that knee as the guy's coming in. I don't know. It was a very impressive. Shows good instinct. He's not going to quit on himself even if there is adversity coming his way. I just don't think that he should have won that fight. I don't think he was on route to winning that fight. I think he was going to get dominated for the rest of the fight. But it is what it is. He got that knockout. He's in the UFC taking on Clayton Carpenter. And I think Clayton Carpenter has a massive advantage in the wrestling and the grappling. Has a very good win on Contender Series himself against Edgar Shirez, who we know is legit. That guy just went to war with Josh Van. Insane fight, by the way, if you guys haven't seen that one. But I do think Clayton Carpenter can shoot these takedowns. I think once he gets the takedowns, he's even live to finish this fight. Beginning of the week, the over-under for this fight, I think it was like huge plus money for this fight to not go the distance. By huge, I mean like plus 130, plus 140. It wasn't actually huge. But right now, it's actually just flipped within the last couple hours here. Minus 125 to not go the distance. Minus 110 to go the distance. So I see a lot of action coming in on the under. I do like the Clayton Carpenter side in this fight. I think once he gets those takedowns, he's live to finish this fight via submission. I think just watching his fights, his grappling instincts are on point. He's going right to the sub. He's always looking for it. He's not just going to lay on you. And I like Clayton Carpenter a lot. I gave him out in the Discord at minus 175. He's climbed to minus 200, and I think he's going to climb to minus 250 before fight day, to be completely honest with you. Now we got Dan Argueta taking on Cody Haddon. Cody Haddon, I got a little bit of personal beef with. I had a 4-man contender series slip that I was very confident in, and Cody Haddon finished the fight too quickly, and it sold my slip. I had his over on SIG strikes. He got like 30 SIG strikes in 2 minutes or something, and then if he just had another minute, he would have gotten his 40 total. A little upsetting, but I'm not going to dwell on that too much. I think he's got a tough matchup here in Dan Argueta. I see a lot of people picking Cody Haddon. I think he's the truth. He has that win over Steve Erceg. Now we have Steve Erceg down a weight class, looking better than ever. So I'm not going to put too much stock into that. But what I am going to put stock into is Dan Argueta's win over Myron Santos. The Ultimate Fighter winner just came out, had that debut knockout, stunning knockout. Absolutely beautiful combinations that guy was throwing. And I think Dan Argueta has a good path to victory here. I understand there's a lot of hype behind Cody Haddon's name. I'm not disrespecting him one bit. I just think that Dan Argueta is a tough out for your first fight in the UFC. I think Dan Argueta is going to pressure forward with that wrestling. I don't think he's better on the feet. I don't think he's necessarily better in pure jiu-jitsu, but he's got that wrestling. He can hold you. He can Mario Bautista you if he needs to. I think Dan Argueta is going to get those takedowns. I think he's going to hold them. And I think Dan Argueta is live to take a decision here. If you want to target the Dan Argueta side, you're looking at that plus 155 price tag. I think that's a price I'm willing to pay for Dan Argueta. You can also look at that plus 3.5 prop. I think that's an even safer bet. I don't think Cody Haddon's going to finish him, but I do think Dan Argueta can win at least one round in this fight. On to the next fight, we got Corey McKenna taking on Julia Pilastri. And this fight was actually supposed to be Corey McKenna versus Polyana Viana, which I thought was a much better fight. However, now we have Julia Pilastri stepping in, and I am not too high on either one of these females. In Corey McKenna's last fight, I was pretty imminent in my breakdown. Corey McKenna should win this fight. But yeah, her last fight, what does she do? Shoots a takedown against Jacqueline Amarim. What on earth are you thinking? You deserve to lose that fight. I'm never betting you again. However, I do think Corey McKenna has a chance to win this fight. This is going to be a fade fight for me. I didn't bother doing too much tape study on this one. It's a pick'em women's fight, and those are, when they're not championship level, these are really hard fights to predict. I see a lot of love for Julia Pilastri, but I think Corey McKenna has a chance. I think she's a live dog. Best bet at minus 400 to go over 2.5. I mean, it's going to hit, but come on. Like, what's that price, man? And we got Junior Tafa taking on Sean Sheriff. And this fight right here is a little interesting because it was supposed to be Waldo versus Chris Barnett. Then it was supposed to be Tafa versus Chris Barnett. Now it's Tafa versus Sheriff. And I'm not too familiar with Sean Sheriff's game, but what I do know is that Junior Tafa cannot check leg kicks. I don't see Sean throwing too many of those, though. He's got the first round knockouts, absolutely insane power. I think this fight is going to be one that ends very quickly. I think these are two big boys that are going to stand in the center of the octagon and bang. And with that, knowing that that's going to happen, I think you have to get the guy with a little bit more experience. I think Junior Tafa can take this one. But as we learned in the Buckley versus Wonderboy fight, if you've got a puncher's chance, you can't count them out. Buckley down 2 rounds, throws a fucking jumping hook and chins Wonderboy. Insane knockout, insane finish. Really sad to watch, but if you have a puncher's chance, you're never out of the fight. If the price is right here on Sean Sheriff with that 275, I mean, the under 1.5 is minus 305. They think this fight's going to end very quickly. I think you can maybe try and snag a little value on that over 1.5 if you think they're going to dance around a little bit. But I think they're going to go to the center, stand and bang, and I think Sheriff could possibly land a shot. Once the props drop for this fight, I'm probably going to look for a Sean Sheriff round 1 knockout line. Just play it for fun, man. Tafa's probably going to win this fight. Tafa should win this fight. But I'm not going to chalk up minus 350 for a guy who I watched not be able to check a leg kick and just eat 10 of them in a row from De Lima. Next up, we got Nico Price taking on Themba Gorimbo, Dwayne The Rock Johnson's boy. And Nico Price, after taking all of the money he made from diving against Robbie Lawler, we all know that fight was a dive, come on. Robbie Lawler didn't magically gain one-shot knockout power. Nico Price didn't suddenly lose his chin. That was a dive. And then look at that. Nico Price gained his chin back in the last fight. Took a beating in those late rounds. But I think Themba's going to come out there, and I think he's going to make a statement. I think Nico Price is getting a little bit chinny, even though he did take that dive. And I do think Themba's going to win this fight. I mean, he's a huge favorite. You can't really do too much with a minus 400. I do think you can target that knockout prop for a little bit of plus money. And I think that's where my money's going to be. I don't really have too much to say about this fight. Nico Price, he's getting up there in age. Themba, they're trying to make him into something. I think they made this matchup specifically hoping he was going to get that knockout. And I'm going to ride with him on that. Up next, we got Jonathan Pierce taking on Pat Sabatini. And this one's another one where I'm kind of going against the public here. Earlier in the week, this was near a pick'em fight. I think Jonathan Pierce was a minus 130. Now he's up to a minus 190 on some books, which is ridiculous, man. I think that Pat Sabatini is super live in this fight, especially given how Jonathan Pierce always is shooting takedowns. I understand he does really good work with the ground and pound. He's getting right to work. The second he takes you down, he's looking for elbows. He's looking for punches. He's not a lay and pray guy. He was talking shit to Brito while he was holding him down. Didn't really work out too well for him, but I think Pat Sabatini likes to be on his back. I think, interestingly enough, I think the way Jonathan Pierce wins this fight is by keeping it standing. I think right when he shoots a takedown is when he enters Pat Sabatini's domain, and I think that's where he can get himself into a little bit of trouble. I mean, Pat Sabatini was literally favored over Diego Lopez. JSP will never be favored over Diego Lopez. That's just not something that would happen. I want to go back to the days when this guy was scheduled to take on Bryce Mitchell. I think that'd be a great fight before Bryce took that career-altering knockout loss. We got Ramazan Temirov taking on CJ Vergara, and one thing I will say is I respect the hell out of CJ Vergara. This man has never taken an easy fight. This guy's fighting all the debuters. And I think, unfortunately for CJ Vergara, another one's going to happen. Another loss to a debuter, that is. I don't think Ramazan's going to finish him. CJ Vergara, he never quits. We saw it in the Lacerda fight. He got his ass kicked for a little bit. He started running. Full on Chelsea Chandler running away from Daniel Lacerda. He's running around the octagon, regains his composure, and then finishes the fight. I think Temirov can apply that pressure. I think he can beat him up a little bit, get a couple takedowns maybe. But I don't think he's going to finish CJ Vergara. Obviously, we have flyweights. Not a ton of knockouts happening here. I think this one's going to decision, and I'm going to lean Temirov. Up next, this one should be a quick and fun fight. We got Josh Brem taking on Abdul Razak Al Hassan. Abdul Razak Al Hassan, man, this guy in his last fight took on Cody Brundage. And something you like to see when you bet on a guy, he's not afraid to cheat, all right? That guy was battering, and I mean battering, the back of Cody Brundage's head. Obviously, Cody Brundage has that fight against Jacob Malkoun where he was getting his ass kicked, and then he kind of played it up a little bit to get that DQ win. People were saying that he was trying to do that again, but nah, dude, watch that fight back. It wasn't the clip that they were actually showing in the broadcast for the fight. It was like before they started recording for that clip. Abdul is just battering the back of his head, man. And that's something you like to see. You like to see a guy who's not afraid to cheat a little bit to get the win, all right? He's going to fight for your money no matter what. I don't think Josh Fremd is going to be able to get that takedown. We saw Cody Brundage try and desperately get that takedown, hanging onto the single leg, hanging onto the double. He didn't get anything. Abdul stuffed it, and then he beat his ass. I think a very similar thing's in store here for Josh Fremd. I think he's going to shoot a takedown, maybe. He's just going to get battered on the feet. I will give you guys a VIP play here. I have a little bit of money on Abdul Razak round 1 knockout. That's how most of his fights end. That's how this fight's going to end. Next fight up, Daniel Rodriguez taking on Alex Morono. Now this fight right here, another one, just a couple of unks going to war. I think Alex Morono has kind of fallen off. I don't think he's as good as he once was. He has a great ground game. I'll give him respect where it's due. His ground game is pretty good. He's very competent on the ground, but D-Rod's not shooting a takedown. I don't think Morono's going to pull guard or anything. He's not a very offensively oriented grappler, if that makes any sense. I think this is just going to be 2 unks at the barbecue, banging it out on the feet. Up further on the main card here, we have Grant Dawson taking on Rafa Garcia. Now, I do respect Rafa Garcia's game. I respect his abilities. but I also have to understand that Grant Dawson is an elite level grappler. And I know everyone wants to hate on him for that Bobby Green loss. I think that was a 1 in a million punch, hit him just the right spot, turned his lights off. I don't think that's going to happen again. I don't think Grant Dawson is that chinny. He's not a Johnny Walker of lightweight. I think that was just a one-off punch, a super fluke. Bobby Green's not knocking anybody out. And I think Grant Dawson's going to control his way to a decision here. If you want to take a shot, you could bet that Rafa Garcia decision no action around plus 160. I don't see Grant Dawson getting a finish, and if you believe that he is chinny, I think that's worth a shot. But realistically, it's going to be Grant Dawson sitting in a body triangle for about 13 minutes here, just holding tight, and that'll be that, man. Next fight up, we got Chidi Njokuani versus Jared Gooden. Now, this fight right here, I'm a little torn. I'm having a hard time making a pick in this fight, which is a little interesting because Chidi Njokuani is a minus 175 favorite. But I'm kind of leaning Jared Gooden. I'm kind of looking at Jared Gooden inside the distance. I think this guy's got what it takes. I've never been too impressed by Chidi Njokuani. When you have a round one knockout loss to Mikhail Olazechek, I know something's wrong with you. You can't let that happen. This guy's going to split decision with Albert Dorayev? He's losing, man. He split decision with Reese McKee. Reese McKee was brought into the UFC to lose to Khamzat Chimaev, had an 0-4 stint in the UFC. And you're going to split decision with him? I'm not putting my money on you. Why are you a minus 175 favorite? Give me Jared Gooden all the way here. I think he had a great performance. Obviously, he had that massive weight miss against Carlson Harris. I don't know what was going on there. Last fight out, Wellington Turman had a great performance. And I think he's due for another one. Give me Jared Gooden inside the distance on a counter punch knockout. Taking it up to the co-main event. This is a rebooked fight from a while back. We got Brad Tavares versus Jung Young Park. My opinion on this fight has not changed one bit. If you guys have been here for a while, you know how I feel about this fight. I don't think Jung Young Park can take down Brad Tavares. I don't think he can. And I think that's Jung Young Park's only way to win. Tavares, yeah, he hasn't been looking great. Yeah, he's looked worse than he ever has. However, stuffed all of Dricus' takedowns, stuffed almost all of Chris Weidman's takedowns. Two demonic takedown artists, all right? You can say what you want about Dricus. When he wants to get you down, he will. We just saw what he did to Stylebender. Absolutely disgusting. Chris Weidman, All-American wrestler, former champion, could not take Brad Tavares down for the life of him. And then he got manhandled by Gregory Rodriguez. That'll happen to the best of us, all right? Jung Young Park, however, I don't think he's dangerous. I don't think this guy's capable of harming another human on the feet. I think he can pitter-patter that jab. He's going to try and shoot a takedown. It could be a lot of cage control, but he's not going to get the takedowns that he needs to win this fight. Give me Brad Tavares by unanimous decision, 29-28. I think Park might have one good round of cage control where Brad Tavares can't get anything off, but I think Tavares is just going to hit him with that 1-2 the whole fight. It's going to be there the whole time. Leg kick him as he's coming in, throw the 1-2 down the pipe. It's going to be an easy fight for my man Brad Tavares, another underdog pick. Up to the main event. I want to preface this fight by letting you guys know I am a Tatsuro Taira hater. I have bet against this guy a couple times, probably 2 times I think I bet against this guy. And I'm happening again, man. Give me Brandon Royval. Now, I was targeting Brandon Royval when he was plus 170. I thought there's no way this fight's going to go back closer to maybe Tatsuro Taira minus 160, minus 170. Tatsuro Taira's a minus 300. Are you kidding me? Why is this guy a minus 300? What has he done to be a minus 300 over Brandon Royval? Guy coming off an absolutely insane win. He made Moreno look like he had never fought before. He destroyed him. Melted Brandon Moreno at elevation. Best performance he's ever had. Obviously had that insane knockout over Mateos Nicolau, flying knee into the ground and pound. You want to dig back a little bit. Finished off Kai Kara France with that choke as Kai Kara France shot a takedown. Tatsuro Taira, he doesn't have that wrestling. Tatsuro Taira, he's very crafty. We saw what he was doing to Perez. Oh yeah, albeit in a fight he was losing. Perez was beating him up, man. Perez was winning that fight. Tatsuro Taira gets a fluke injury win, and now all of a sudden he's a 3-1 favorite over Brandon Royval. Now I see a lot of people are saying, oh, Tatsuro knew what he was doing. He was trying to injure. No, he didn't, dude. He was trying to take him down, yes. Was he trying to do whatever he could to take him down? Absolutely. But to say that he was intentionally trying to damage Alex Perez's knee is a ridiculous take. I can't believe people actually think that's true. There's no world where Tatsuro Taira should be a minus 300 favorite over Brandon Royval. I do not think Tatsuro Taira can finish this fight. I think if Tatsuro is going to win this fight, he's going to have to go through hell and back to wet blanket Royval like Pantoja did. But here's the thing, Pantoja's huge. Tatsuro Taira is nowhere near as big as Pantoja. I don't think he can hold Brandon Royval down like that. I think Brandon Royval is going to be kicking and screaming the whole way. I think he's going to be keeping his shoulders off the mat. And give me Brandon Royval inside the distance to find a submission out of a scramble. That might be a wild take. I don't care. It's a plus 1,500 prop. I'm taking a shot on it, man. I think Tatsuro Taira doesn't have the capabilities to finish this fight. If he finishes this fight, no flukes involved, I'll give him his credit. I'll give him his flowers. I'll respect him as a contender. But until I see him take down Brandon Royval, I'm not going to give this guy shit. He should not be a minus 300 favorite with the work he's done. I saw Edgar Shirez almost have him out on the feet, almost have him out on the ground. 20 more seconds in that fight, he might have been choked unconscious. Brandon Royval is way craftier than Edgar Shirez, way better than Edgar Shirez everywhere the fight goes. And I think he can win this fight everywhere. I think he's a better, maybe not a pure jiu-jitsu grappling artist. I think Brandon Royval's got better wrestling. I think Brandon Royval's got miles better striking. Striking's not even comparable between these two. Brandon Royval could run up 100 strikes off Tatsuro Taira's face. What's going to stop him, man? Tatsuro doesn't have good striking defense. He was getting beat up by Alex Perez. You lose a round to Alex Perez and you think Brandon Royval is all of a sudden a plus 250 underdog, man? I can't believe this line. I think this line's gotten way out of control. The fight's barely favored to go over 3.5 rounds, and I don't think Tatsuro Taira can finish him. To me, that screams Royval inside the distance. But yeah, guys, make sure you join the Discord. Absolutely free if you want to get some free plays in there. We have a Bare Knuckle FC play live right now. And then if you guys want to get even more, you want to start winning, join the winning team, join the VIP. $1 a day, that's all it takes. And right now we do have a 50% off promo going. Promo code Jaden Reed. He's a Packer player, won us a lot of money last week, one of my gold props. I give out gold, silver, and bronze props for the NFL every week, 5, 5, and 5. We went 5-0 on the gold props after 4-0 the week before. We're hot, man. The NFL is so easy to bet. We're just absolutely printing money on the NFL. UFC, we're going to keep running it up. My favorite sport by far. My most knowledgeable sport by far. And I think we've got some good spots this week. We're targeting a lot of underdogs. When we're targeting underdogs like that, all we need is 1 or 2 of them to win to make our money back for these investments. And I think we're in a good spot, guys. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.